I did the immigration clinic. I did it for 2 semesters. I started in the summer going into my 3L year. So I did it the summer from May to December. I had 3 cases, but my primary case work consisted of working with a client who had been detained by ICE. He is still in detention. When I received the case, he was 19, and he had been detained by ICE, and so part of my job was to research his claim for asylum. So I worked with a partner, and we wrote a brief for asylum. We researched. I put my research skills to work that I learned in RWA and advocacy. I was able to go visit him while he was detained. I visited him probably around 5 times, where I conducted interviews with him, primarily in Spanish because he didn't speak English. So I was able to also use my second language, which is Spanish, to work with him, and also use my translation abilities to be able to get his story out and relay that story in court in front of an immigration judge. And I went in front of the immigration judge around 3 times, I believe. The first time was a continuance so that we could have more time to file his asylum application. And I went through the whole procedure. So I started with the interview process of getting to know him, what his story was, to doing the research on asylum, and then representing him in court with his detained issues and his issues on asylum. So along with the clinic work itself, you have your caseload, and then you also have a seminar class which meets once a week, and it's a group setting class where we all got to discuss what cases we were working on and bounce ideas off of each other if we were ever having difficulty. The class also helped us with our interview skills, so how you would be able to approach a client who isn't from this country, what cultural barriers you had to kind of overcome, and how the different cultural aspects between the U.S. and different countries, and how you would need to be a little more sensitive to that and take all those factors into consideration when you're working directly with clients. With the seminar class, we also focused on how exactly you go about researching immigration law cases, because that's something sometimes really challenging, because the law in immigration is it changes very fast. So we worked on that, and we also worked on we did little mock trials where we practiced an opening and a cross and had like a little mock setup so that in the case that we needed to do that in court, we would know what to do beforehand. Our supervising attorneys trusted us with their clients, and they had us trust our instincts and how much I actually did know prior to being handed caseload. So how much I did know with interacting with clients. I thought I'd be a little more nervous about talking to other people, but it was more of a conversation rather than me just kind of being an authoritative figure in front of my client. It was just easier to bring my outside personal skills to my client interactions. I think it also helped a little because I took the immigration class along with the clinic, so that helped me with the legal side of it. So I had my personal skills and the legal side that I was able to bring together during my work at the clinic. Clinic is very time-consuming but very rewarding in the end. It gives you the opportunity to use what you learned in the classroom in real-life scenarios, which is what you're going to be doing when you're in practice. And I think those skills are very important because you don't always learn that. So once you graduate, if you don't have that type of experience, you're going to be starting from zero. And I think doing a clinic gives you the upper hand in that when you're working directly with clients. So with my detained client, he wasn't the only client that I had. I also had a couple other clients, and with that, I was able to give them representation when they wouldn't be able to have it otherwise in the clinic. And I think during my experience, it also helped me with other things that I did outside of the clinic. So based on my representation of a detained client, I became really interested in immigrant detention centers, and I was able to do a lot of research with that, and I have published a paper because of that.